Welcome to Tell Me More Stories Told This podcast. Get ready for an adventure today. We're diving deep.
We certainly are. We're heading into the heart of China, the People's Republic of China, officially.
And we've gathered, well, a huge amount of information. Our mission today is really to distill the key insights about this global powerhouse.
Yeah, covering its history, geography, governance, economy, culture, basically giving you a clear picture of why China is so significant today.
Exactly. Prepare for some surprising facts, maybe a deeper understanding beyond just the headlines. Okay, let's unpack this.
Where do we start? Maybe with the sheer scale, the history.
Let's start with scale and history. They're so intertwined. We're talking about land in East Asia. Huge.
Oh, absolutely. It's got the second largest population globally, over 1.4 billion people. That's what, 17.4% of everyone on the planet.
It's just incredible numbers. And land area, third largest. It spans the equivalent of 5 time zones.
Think about that, 5 time zones. And it borders 14 different countries. That geography alone tells you something.
It really does. And administratively, it's complex too. 33 province-level divisions.
Right, you've got provinces, autonomous regions, municipalities. Beijing is the capital, of course.
And Shanghai, the most populous city, the financial hub, a powerhouse in its own right.
But the history. China is recognized as one of the 6 cradles of civilization.
Meaning human societies developed there independently, right back at the beginning. Evidence goes back to the Paleolithic era.
Way back. And the earliest actual dynasties, the states, they popped up in the Yellow River Basin, late 2nd millennium BCE.
That's thousands of years ago. Then you get this crucial turning point.
221 BCE, unification, the first emperor.
And that sets the stage for over 2,000 years of imperial rule. Qin, Han, Tang, Yuan, Ming, Qing, dynasty after dynasty.
An incredible continuity, really. And during that time, amazing innovations.
The gunpowder,
Yeah.
paper, things that literally changed the world.
And the Silk Road connecting East and West, the Great Wall. I mean, the cultural impact was immense, not just in China, but across Asia and beyond.
Yeah, flourishing culture. But then things started to shift, particularly in the later imperial period.
Right. The late 19th century wasn't a great time. China ended up ceding territory to European powers through those unequal treaties.
A difficult period. And that really set the stage for the next massive transformation, didn't it?
It did. The end of the empire, the 1911 revolution.
Which ended the Qing dynasty, ended the whole monarchy system, and led to the Republic of China, the ROC, in 1912.
A completely new era. But it wasn't exactly stable at first.
No, definitely not. You had instability, the warlord era. The country was quite fragmented.
Until the Kuomintang, the KMT, managed to reunify things, relatively speaking, with the Northern Expedition.
But then came another major conflict, the Chinese Civil War, starting in 1927.
Between the KMT and the rising Chinese Communist Party, the CCP. A huge ideological clash.
And that Civil War got put on hold kind of during World War II, right?
Exactly. The Japanese invasion in 1937 forced them into an uneasy alliance, the Second United Front, facing a common enemy.
But as soon as World War II ended,
the Civil War was back on, fiercer than ever. And this time, the CCP ultimately won.
Leading to the proclamation of the People's Republic of China, the PRC, in 1949. A massive shift.
Huge. And the nationalist government, the KMT, retreated to Taiwan, which, created the whole two-China situation with both claiming legitimacy, a situation that persists today.
So the early years of the PRC were marked by some pretty dramatic and sometimes tragic initiatives.
Yeah, attempts to rapidly reshape society. The Great Leap Forward, for instance, aimed at rapid industrialization.
But it led to the Great Chinese Famine. Millions died. A devastating outcome.
And then later, the Cultural Revolution, another period of intense social upheaval and political turmoil.
Turbulent times, but then internationally things started to change.
The relationship with the U.S. began to thaw. That Shanghai Communique in 1972 was a landmark moment.
Opening the door. And then came the big economic shift in 1978.
Deng Xiaoping's economic reforms, moving towards a market economy, reform and opening up, that really set China on its current path.
Unleashing incredible economic growth. But political reform didn't necessarily keep pace.
No, the Tiananmen Square protests in 1989 calling for more democracy were suppressed. That definitely stalled any movement towards significant political liberalization at that time.
So that brings us more towards the present day.
Yeah.
How is China governed now? What's the political setup like?
Well, officially, it's a unitary one-party socialist republic. And the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, is constitutionally the leading party.
They call their ideology socialism with Chinese characteristics. which is basically their adaptation of Marxism.
Right. The Constitution talks about a people's democratic dictatorship led by the working class based on an alliance of workers and peasants, but with CCP leadership as the defining feature.
So while they use the term democracy, like whole process people's democracy,
Most outside observers would classify it as an authoritarian one-party state. There are significant restrictions on freedoms like press, assembly, religion, things typically associated with liberal democracies.
it's a system of strong central control then.
Yes, political centralization is key. But interestingly, there's often local experimentation with policies before they get rolled out nationally. So you see a kind of economic decentralization alongside that political central control.
Okay, let's shift gears to the economy. Because, wow, the economic story is just immense.
It really is. Second largest economy in the world by nominal GDP.
Mm.
But if you adjust for purchasing power parity, basically, what money can actually buy locally, it's the largest.
The largest, and making up about a fifth of the entire global economy.
And the growth rate since those 1978 reforms, consistently one of the fastest growing major economies. It's transformed the country.
It's become the world's factory, right? Largest manufacturer, largest exporter.
And the second largest importer, too. A massive player in global trade. Plus, huge financial markets, second largest equity and futures markets, third largest bond market.
Is it all state-controlled? Or is there a private sector?
Oh, definitely a mix. State-owned enterprises are still very important, especially in strategic areas like energy or banking. But the private sector has grown enormously and is incredibly dynamic.
And one of the most incredible statistics, I think, is the poverty reduction.
Absolutely staggering. Listing over 800 million people out of poverty since the reforms began. It's unprecedented in human history.
Truly remarkable. Though income inequality is still a challenge, right?
Yes, that's a significant issue they're grappling with. The gap between rich and poor has widened considerably.
And on a global stage, China is projecting economic power through initiatives like the Belt and Road.
The BRI, yeah, launched in 2013, a massive global infrastructure development plan aiming to boost connectivity and trade across continents, roads, railways, ports.
It's made China the largest trading partner for many, many countries. And they hold the world's largest foreign exchange reserves. Huge financial clout.
A true economic superpower.
Okay, before we continue exploring, just a quick note. If you're enjoying this deep dive into China and want to uncover more fascinating stories from around the world, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out on our future explorations here on Tell Me More.
Definitely subscribe. Now, where were we? Science and technology, another area of rapid advancement.
Historically, China was way ahead, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Papermaking, printing, the compass, gunpowder, the four great inventions.
Absolutely. A world leader for centuries, really, until maybe the Ming Dynasty. After 1949, they initially followed the Soviet model for science and tech.
But since the Cultural Revolution ended, there's been a huge push, massive investment in R&D.
Massive is right. In 2024, R&D spending was estimated around $496 billion. That's about 2.7% of their GDP. A huge national priority.
And you see the results. High rankings in patents, trademarks, industrial designs, exporting creative goods, climbing the Global Innovation Index.
And the space program is maybe the most visible example. Independently launching satellites, sending astronauts, taikonauts into space. Yeah.
And the moon. That's where the really cool stuff is happening lately.
Oh, yeah. Fun fact time. In 2019, China became the first country ever to land a probe on the far side of the moon, the Chang'e 4 mission.
Imagine getting the first close-up look at that side we never see from Earth. So cool.
And they didn't stop there. Just recently, May 2024, they launched Chang'e 6.
What was its mission?
To collect the first ever samples from the far side, specifically the Apollo basin, and it succeeded. The samples got back to Earth in June 2024.
Wow. Bringing pieces of the far side of the moon back to Earth. That's incredible.
Really pushing the boundaries. And they've also completed their own space station, Tiangong, a major space power now.
Okay, back down to Earth. Infrastructure, another area where the scale is just mind-boggling.
The infrastructure boom has been transformative. High-speed rail is the poster child.
The largest network in the world, right?
Yeah.
45,000 kilometers by the end of 2023.
Yeah, connecting the country like never before. Plus the most super tall skyscrapers, the world's largest power plant, the Three Gorges Dam.
The longest highway system, too. Over 177,000 kilometers in 2022. And their own satellite navigation system, Beidou.
It's all connected. And the ports. Many of the world's busiest container ports are in China. Shanghai is #1, facilitating all that trade we talked about.
It really paints a picture of a nation building itself at incredible speed. Let's talk about culture and society now. It's incredibly diverse.
Hugely diverse. Climate-wise, you get everything from dry seasons to wet monsoons, big temperature swings. Environmentally, desertification is a major challenge, especially the Gobi Desert expanding.
But it's also a megadiverse country biologically, tons of plant and animal species.
And there's been a big government push to tackle pollution. Air quality has improved significantly in many cities over the last decade or so, and they have that ambitious goal of carbon neutrality by 2060.
And forest cover has apparently increased quite a bit too.
Reports suggest it's gone from maybe 10% in 1949 up to around 25% in 2024. So significant reforestation efforts seem to be underway.
What about borders and neighbors? Any ongoing issues?
Most land borders are settled, but there are still ongoing disputes with India and Bhutan. And then there are the maritime disputes in the East and South China Seas, which can get quite tense.
Now the culture itself. Cuisine, arts. It's world-renowned.
Oh, absolutely. The food is incredibly varied by region. And traditional arts, literature, music, architecture, they're seeing a revival.
Chinese architecture has that distinct style, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Symmetry, enclosed spaces, feng shui.
Yeah, and that horizontal emphasis often. Traditional music is diverse too, with instruments classified by material. And Chinese opera is a unique, vibrant art form with lots of regional styles.
I've heard about the Hanfu movement, revitalizing traditional clothing.
That's right, alongside the more modern but still iconic Kapao or Cheongsam. And cinema. China's now the world's largest movie market. Huge number of screens.
And sports are big too. Hosting both Summer and Winter Olympics in Beijing is quite a feat.
The first city ever to do that. Shows their capability on the world stage.
Let's touch on demographics and health briefly. We mentioned the huge population.
Over 1.41 billion in the 2020 census. And they've gone through big shifts in population policy, from 1 child to 2 to 3. Now basically no limit.
But the birth rate is low now.
Very low fertility rate in 2023. And the population actually declined slightly between 2021 and 2022, the first time since the Great Famine era in the early 60s.
Wow. And healthcare.
Big improvement since the 1950s. Focus on public health, preventive medicine. Basic health insurance coverage reportedly hit 95% around 2011.
Okay, now we need to address the more sensitive areas. Sociopolitical issues, human rights.
Yeah.
There's significant international criticism.
Yes, that's undeniable. Concerns about civil rights violations, restrictions on fundamental freedoms, speech, press, assembly, religion.
And the situation in Xinjiang with the Uyghurs has drawn major international concern, including accusations of genocide.
It has. That's a major point of contention and condemnation from many countries and human rights groups. Plus, there's the extensive internet censorship, the Great Firewall, and widespread surveillance.
It's a complex picture, though, because surveys inside China often show high levels of public satisfaction with the government.
That's true. Often attributed to rising living standards, the sense of stability and security, and a perception that the government is effective, even if authoritarian. It challenges simple interpretations.
So, wrapping this all up, what's the big picture? Our deep dive shows a nation of just incredible complexity, dynamism.
Absolutely. From ancient cradle of civilization to modern global superpower, the journey has been marked by profound transformations, incredible achievements, but also significant challenges and controversies.
We've seen the impact of its vast geography and population, traced the evolution from empire to republic to people's republic, explored the governance, the staggering economic rise.
And glimpsed the rich culture, the huge strides in science and tech, even reaching the far side of the moon.
And like you said, this just scratches the surface. So much more depth, regional diversity, the global impact.
Exactly. Which leads to a final thought, perhaps, for you, the listener, to consider.
Yeah.
Well, given China's rapid tech advancements, its growing global influence, but also its unique approach to governance, how do you think all that might shape the future? The future of international relations, how we tackle global challenges like climate change or pandemics?
That's a big question. How its unique model interacts with the rest of the world going forward.
Yeah.
Definitely something to mull over.
Indeed. It's a story that's still unfolding and one that affects us all.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into China here on Tell Me More Stories Told This podcast. We hope it gave you plenty to think about.